I know it's not politically correct to say it, but the biggest threat from explosions, from explosive devices planted by Muslims is not Islamophobia. The biggest threat from Islamic terrorism, from international terrorism and global jihad is not racism or comments or someone getting an iffy stare on a piece of on public transport. The biggest danger of fire, burning people, is not sexism. The biggest danger from explosions planted in busy streets is not bigotry. Obama says we shouldn't jump to conclusions. We know this was an Islamist extremist, such as the Muslim Brotherhood that he's been supporting and actively funding, just like ISIS and all the rest. We need to talk about jihad. We can't hide anymore. Europe is being ripped apart by Merkel's policy and by the globalist policy, which supports all the political correctness and all the regressive leftist social justice warrior bullshit that's directly endangered us all. And now the censorship's coming in of Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and everything. And it becomes automatically a hate speech to call out terrorism. How is that hate speech? And how is Wahhabism not hateful? How is it fine to hang gay people from a crane or tell women that they're not ready to drive and make them cover themselves up and chain them together and take them as slaves? How is it alright to slaughter cows en masse and smear the blood all over your children and have children dressed up as little girls so you can have sex with them and say that's for pleasure because women are for children and little boys are for pleasure, like they do in Afghanistan? How is that acceptable? How is that not hateful? How is that tolerable? Why should we tolerate it? And why does that make me a bigot? Because I don't want to tolerate terrorism. Something's gone very wrong with the world. Something's gone completely topsy-turvy with the world. To the point where Hillary says, we're investigating a bombing, and then someone says, what do you think about Trump calling it a bombing? Oh, I think it's terrible. Me saying it was fine, but him saying it, that becomes racist. Because he's a man! And is that not sexist? No, because sexism is only against women in their bizarre, backward world. I basically like everyone. I basically want everyone to get on. Islam doesn't. Islam wants to take over. Islam through Al-Shabaab, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Al-Nusra, Hezbollah, that one in Africa, I can't even remember. But the Muslim Brotherhood. This is jihad. These are not individual groups. This is not ISIS, ISIL, IS, Daesh, so-called Islamic State, so-called this, that and the other. This is jihad. This is what Muslims themselves are now whistleblowing about. It isn't just isolated cases, and Obama is wrong and lying when he says that we shouldn't jump to conclusions and that there's no known link. Of course there's a link, and of course the media is complicit in covering this up globally, because it's the same the world over. It's the same that it's workplace violence or mental illness, and that's ridiculous. We know it's not. We know you're lying about Hillary to try and get her in and get the agenda of 550% of increase of immigration, and we don't hate immigrants. We're not part of a hateful new ideology that hates immigrants. We just don't like the lying media, we don't trust the regressive leftists because they are literally destroying us, and we don't like being bombed or destroyed and then being told we're not tolerant enough.